everybody is talking so much about the power of social media. I'm not even allowed to use my overheads. It's pathetic. There's art around. That's what happens. So I'm going to have to perform it.
This is a projector.
Vivian, I can't face it. Pulling it out, taking the paintings down. It's over for me. So I'm sorry. I had prepared something that was more visual, and I want to be held to my 5 minutes, because as you can guess from something the Dean has said, from what Professor Nyamjo has said, this process of beginning to think how the Faculty of Humanities at the University of Cape Town could genuinely engage ethically and with a sense of the critical need for redistribution of our intellectual activism is something that the AGI has been involved with only for a decade. There are people sitting in this room who've been involved with it at UCT for much longer. Some people sitting here may know a little bit about the African Gender Institute. Our name Institute is confusing. We are in fact constituted as a department, and it's been a department that's been alive for 12 years now. We run a full undergraduate major, postgraduate programs, and we have what I am proud to suggest, and I do so in a absolutely open and friendly and robust spirit. I'm willing to make the claim that the African Gender Institute for the past 10 years, not necessarily before that, has the strongest, most robust, most intellectual activism in connection to the continent than any other department in the humanities. That is because we have put it centrally into our focus. That is not because there aren't extraordinary scholars in other departments, including CAS, including social anthropology, including politics, including religion. But as a department, this has been our agenda. We came into existence in 1999 at a moment where South Africa still believed that the continent stopped at the Limpopo. Some people still do believe that. What could we bring to that? An absolute recognition of how we got there in this university, in this country, and a passionate commitment to put our resources towards the transformation of that intellectual space. Last night, I received an email that blew me out the water. I've been very much a participant in this process. The AGI has a reputation which stands for itself. It's never been necessary to solicit support or to encourage people to come. We are independent from that need. However, one of this conversation's results has been, in fact, that people are very interested in it from all different walks of the continent, internationally, nationally. And last night at about 7:14, I got an email, which I was going to show you. I was going to put it up on the wall, from Hakima Abbas, she works with Queer Africa at Fahamu in Kenya, and she wrote a statement supporting the African Gender Institute's work. I'm not going to read it to you. And she appended a list of 500 names that constitute, I wanted to put it up for you, I wanted to show you those email addresses. Some of you will recognize them. Hudu Bob, Fatou Sow, Paul Zeleza, Aminata Diallo. Major, major, major intellectual activists on the continent saying we support the work of the AGI. These are not people who know about university politics. They don't know much about UCT. What they know about is what we have tried to do and made mistakes, but they honor that. So why? I mean, I sat there looking at this email. Why would the head of the Department of the African Gender Institute and the staff who work with the African Gender Institute be interested in moving beyond that space? Why? What is there about this moment in 2011 that would make us interested in that? Now's the point where you have to start shutting me up. I have 3 more things to say. The first thing that would make us interested in it is the quality and the difficulty of the intellectual conundrums we face in this point, in this time, in this continent. For example, social policy. The South African government is currently incentivizing ill health. You go below a certain CD4 count, you get a grant in a climate of huge poverty, huge despair. What do we think about that? How do we work with it? What does it mean? What does it mean that Museveni has just, through a very, very corrupt poll, be re-elected as president of Uganda? What does that mean? What does that mean for political spaces, for philosophical spaces, for thinking about governance? What does it mean that when I move into my first class, and I'm being seductive in the class, so I'm using lots of images and blah, blah, so I've got this picture of Tahrir Square and a woman kissing a soldier. And it's like, I want them to talk about what does this mean? What is the space? It's a big class. There are 200. 10 of them recognize Tahrir Square. I didn't believe it, but 10 of them recognized it. We're in trouble. We're in trouble in our space of humanities. We know about that. We're in trouble in relation to the recognition of the intellectual powerhouse of the resources on this continent and what is necessary to do to pull them together. And it's in those terms that the African Gender Institute has been willing to enter this conversation. We're worried. We're feminists. That has a whole bunch of meanings. We want to know where that's going to go. We're profoundly supportive of radical queer politics. We have experts around conflict and peace. We have experts around gender and media whose programs have been very important to us. And we'll have to think how to reimagine them in this space. We're absolutely committed to keeping the African Gender Institute as a research institute. Soft funded, it's going to be amazing. Watch this space. We also want to work with Francis Nyanjo. We want to our students to read his book on democracy and the social media. We want to work with Raj Mestri. We want to work with the meaning of languages. We believe we are now strong enough to move into a bigger place. We have worries. Those who support us do not.